I'm Black British Woman's Voice, and today I just want to touch briefly on the subject, which is the coon. Lord or intelligent designer in the sky, save us from the coons within the black community. Okay, so where do I start? So just so that we're clear, I'm not talking about the commonly understood definition of a coon, otherwise known as the racist slur coined by white people. I'm talking about the modern day translation of the word now used by black people to describe the most dangerous of entities, which is the black person that intercedes to protect and defend racists or white people in general against their own people. The word coon is not to be confused with the equally offensive term, which is coconut. Although these words appear interchangeable in many respects, in my opinion, a coconut is a black person who, although is black, adopts the mannerisms, speeches, etc. of a white person, but still harbours an acute understanding of how racism manifests, and will willingly acknowledge the white person's passive-aggressive behaviour towards a black person usually has racial overtones, and will duly side with the black person in defence against it. As an illustration, think of the character Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Carlton portrays an archetypal coconut, but in some episodes was openly confrontational in the face of overt racism, and there were many occasions where he exhibited flecks of conscientiousness and the ability to accept learning curves as truth. For instance, there was an episode of Carlton and Will were driving a car minding their own business, but then were stopped and arrested for no good reason by the police. At the end of that episode, Carlton has an actual epiphany moment about the limitations of being a man driving whilst black, if that makes any sense. So, however, a coon is far more chameleon-like in that they're harder to discern amongst the black ranks. They look and sound like us in that they don't possess the traditional linguistic styles or mannerisms of white people. They can even share the same stories of adversity like us and express grievances at the racism that we face and the institutional racism that we're subjected to. However, and again, this is my opinion, this is where the coon and the coconut diverge. The coconut will see a black person arguing with a white person and intercede, not necessarily be on the black or the white person's side, but intercede and try to end the argument nonetheless. The coon, however, despite knowing how racism works, despite knowing that the core of a white person arguing with a black person is racist motivation, will watch the same argument and assume automatically that the white person is in the right and the black person is in the wrong. Then, with its coon mouth, run its coon mouth in support of the white person. But to illustrate a coon further, think of Samuel L. Jackson's character, Stephen from Django, the same character whom, despite being a slave, was happy to see Django's dick cut off. I can't tell you the amount of times I've come across coons. It's far more than I'd like because, as I said earlier, unfortunately, they look and sound like us. I've had the misfortune of befriending a woman who, to all intents and purposes, had the veneer of a black common sense woman, but the belief system of a sewer. I no longer know her, but she told me once that black boys probably need to be stopped and searched more because they're probably doing something dodgy. That's your son she's talking about, by the way. So how do you fix this level of ignorance and subconscious bias? By explaining that stop and search is a racist initiative wielded with racist impunity to subject black men in particular to a ritual humiliation. Unfortunately, you can't, I can't, no one can, because the coon finds it convenient to blame the victim rather than the system, because the coon, like Stephen from Django, finds the system serves them well. So what are we going to do about these coons? Stick badges on them, subject them to a dense learning program, or just chuck them in the bin? Any suggestions, please post them in the comments below. It would be really interesting to have a further discourse on this. In the meantime, this is One Black British Woman's Voice, and I'm out. Coons.